Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. So in this tutorial, we are going to be learning how to draw an anime girl face. Throughout the video I might add like maybe the neck and the shoulders, but the basic point of the video is getting the face down, the face shape down, everything into place. So it's not going to necessarily be a like a hair tutorial or anything else. I will probably draw that as well, and you're free to follow along with that as well. Before we start, I'm trying to make my intros a little bit shorter. People seem to not like my intros being long, and I get that, but a lot of YouTubers do like to mention a few things. So one of the things I do want to mention, if you are interested in supporting me and this channel, you can actually become a patron for as little as $2 a month, and there are different tiers, of course. You can choose higher than that, but the lowest one is $2. Basically, you'd give to me and I would give back to you. So you can get monthly commissions, you can get like a little shout out, you can get, you can help participate in making a webtoon. And then there is Ko-fi, so you can actually buy me a coffee, I guess that's how you'd say it. And I think that's also like $2 or $3, I'm not sure. I think you can do more, but basically you would just be giving back to me. If you're interested, everything is linked in the description and at the top of the comments, as well as my Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and DeviantArt. Okay, I know the intro wasn't much shorter, but anyways, let's start the tutorial. So, we are just, again, focusing on the face. So what I'm gonna do, I usually don't do this, but sometimes I do. I'm gonna start, let me scoot that down, with a circle. Now the circle doesn't have to be perfect, and I'm sure you've heard that many times, but it really doesn't have to be perfect. Depending on the size you want, you can make it bigger, you can make it smaller. I'm just gonna make about that big. And again, this is not a perfect circle, so just keep that in mind. It's really not. What I'm going to do next, though, if I can just talk, is I'm going to start coming down from this side that we just made, and I'm going to bring it down little ways like that. And again, I would recommend using sketch marks just in case you do mess up. So we came down from here with the help of this little sketchy circle. Then this will be obviously her cheek, and for right now, I'm just gonna stop about right here, and that will be her chin, and we'll go on and continue that. Now for the little angle that I'm doing, she is mostly facing the camera, but she's slightly turned this way. So it'll make sense in just a moment. I'm gonna try to get a sloppy little line down the middle. I'd also recommend putting one across if this helps you. It doesn't usually help me all that much, but trying to get used to using them. So now we can go ahead and continue. I wouldn't recommend making the end too pointed unless that's your preferred art style. You can also make it more rounded. Then I would come up from here. And again, she is kind of tilted this way. Just keep that in mind. But now I kind of go all over the place. I will add hair later, but for right now, we're just gonna draw as if she's bald or just, a head. So yeah, basically you're gonna come back up from here. You're gonna, with the help of this, kind of keep that circle shape in. And if you mess up, obviously, like I just did, you are free to erase. I'm gonna add her ears later because those are gonna be, they're actually angled up with her eyes. So usually, I mean, obviously in real life that's a thing, but for some art styles that's not always the case. But yeah, usually the ears are lined up with the eyes. I forget if it's the bottom part of the eyes or the top. So yeah, just go ahead and put whatever kind of style ear you want in. You're not gonna see as much as this one, just because of the angle. And for the heck of it, I'm just gonna go ahead and start putting her neck in. And if you don't wanna do this part, just, skip. If I remember, I can try to put like timestamps in so you can skip along if you don't want to stay for certain parts. But yeah, usually the neck is about, and since she is looking this way, let me actually scoot that up. This one is a little bit bigger, but it's typically not too big unless you're drawing a male, but in this case, we're drawing a female. The shoulders are also about that size. Then I'm gonna go ahead and just put in her collarbone, which if you want to keep a simple style, I just do something like that and then add like a little curved line like that. And sometimes there are more details, obviously. Okay, and as you know, this is just a rough sketch. This is nothing permanent, and you more than likely do see some flaws. Like some of these are not, you know, perfectly smooth, and this side was a little bit too, I'm gonna use the word wide, so I actually want to change that real quick. If you like yours the way it is, obviously feel free to not change anything, but if you followed along and yours also looks a little bit like that, always keep an eraser handy, that is for sure, because kind of didn't like the way that looked, and sometimes the cheek can be a little bit too, I don't really know the terminology for that either, but kind of came out a little bit too much. So I'm going to put that ear back in and see if I like how this looks, and then we will proceed with the actual face. Okay, so here's what I have so far. Apologies for not making it perfect the first time, but I'm not perfect, so if I make mistakes, just try to bear with me. This is what I have so far, and I think we're just going to continue from here. It doesn't have to be necessarily like a perfect drawing, so the point is kind of, you know, getting her face in. I don't want to spend too much time on the other things. So let's go in with her eyes, and I'm gonna start, instead of just drawing one full eye and then going over here, I'm gonna try to do both at the same time, and I'll show you. So if you want to do my kind of, well, it's not really mine, I am using a reference, but I'm gonna change it up a little bit too. But if you want to use this art style that I'm doing in the video, feel free to. So I'm gonna start with a curved line like that, and then I'm gonna actually have a little line point out, if that makes sense, and then there's going to be a thicker one, a bigger one, that's going to overlap that, or follow after it, I should say. Then you can bring that out. This point, or the edge of this, will point out a little bit, and then from there you can kind of bring it into that. I'm going to also follow along with a little eyelid like that, and so I'm going to do the same thing over here instead of continuing with that one. It's a little bit too close actually. Later on we're definitely gonna erase all this stuff. Okay, so try to keep the same idea in mind, and because she is kind of turned, I'm trying to keep that perspective in mind. So that's kind of what we should have. I'm gonna check though just to make sure it does look accurate. I don't want to give a tutorial that doesn't even look accurate. All right, so I'm actually just going to go ahead, I'm actually not going to erase this middle part because that's going to help us, you know, with the nose and the mouth. But for right now, we really don't need the some of the other guidelines. If you want to erase yours later, or if you want to erase all of them now, again, the choice is yours. So just give me a moment. I'm going to do that real quick. Okay, so I'm kind of weird. I kind of just want to start adding some other things as we're going. So I know I usually do the eyebrows after the eyes, but I'm just gonna put them in right now. You can angle yours whatever way you want to. I'm gonna kind of point mine upwards a little bit. Then we're gonna go back to the eyes because I'm weird. So let's continue with that. So I'm gonna start with this one. I'm gonna start obviously with the circle shape, and it's gonna be cut off because the eye. And once you get to about up here, I'm gonna go ahead and add like a half circle type thing. And you know that's like a highlight or a glare of the eye. And sometimes in certain art styles, you don't see the bottom part of the eyelid and you just see the eyelashes. So I'm gonna do that for this one, or you can add a bottom eyelid. So I'm gonna do the same thing over here. That faint guideline is kind of helping me. So honestly, I know some of you will be kind of confused why I erased it if I still needed it. I'm just weird. Everyone's different. I can still kind of see it, so I don't technically need it anymore. So that's why I felt like I could erase it. Okay, so I think everything is turning out semi-okay. I'm just gonna go next with her nose, which is just a little dot like that. That is kind of the great part about certain, you know, anime styles or just art styles. Sometimes the nose is just like a little line or a dot. Other times it's not. But next I'm gonna go with the mouth, and I left this part because it's gonna kind of help me. I'm gonna actually leave the middle part open, or like a gap, and I'm just gonna go ahead and do something like that. And typically I like to make the edges just a little bit darker, not too noticeable. And then if you want to, you can add like a bottom part of the mouth. I'm not gonna do that for this one. Now, the fun fun part, my favorite part, one of my favorite parts is the eye details. For this one, I do like to zoom in a little bit more. So there's many different eye styles, we all know this, but I'm going to kind of do a simple one, yet not simple. So I like to do like a half circle again, or not really a half circle, it's more than half, but I don't like to connect the bottom. Then I like to go next with like a horizontal little line like that, and it's gonna be kind of cut off right here, obviously. And next, you can just basically go in and start shading. After I shade this part though, I like to add other small minor details as well. I think I have mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but if you want to do this one too, that's why I'm gonna explain, but I like to make the, I would say it's the edges, more dark and more bold. It gives like a glossy effect almost, or like just a really pretty, I don't know really what word to use other than glossy. I hope you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Then I like to kind of darken the pupil, and sometimes I'll go in and shade it as well. Next will be that little thing I was talking about, so I like to add little lines across like that. And finally, I'm gonna go ahead and start shading this as well. And if you want to do this art style, again, your choice, but I'm gonna leave the middle a lighter color or lighter shading. That is optional, you don't have to. Okay, I hope that one was kind of explained well or properly. I'm gonna do this one next. I'm probably gonna do it in time lapse, or I'm gonna cut it out just to kind of save on time. This was supposed to be like a really quick tutorial. So basically just do the same thing you did over here. All right, so there are a few other things that are left, nothing too big or fancy. I'm gonna add a little extra eyelash like that. And in my last video of a drawing tutorial, I did mention that I'm really bad with eyelashes, and you can see that's no joke. And then of course you can go in and add blushies if you want to, again, optional, but it always kind of gives a nice finishing touch. And you can even add like a little nose shadow. And the only other thing I'm gonna do just to kind of make it come in and top it off, I guess, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some hair. I'll try to explain it a little bit, but again, I don't want to make the tutorial really long. Okay, so I'm gonna erase some of this. We really don't need it, and it really wasn't the best anyways. Okay, so I'm gonna do a simple hairstyle, just kind of like a split like that, almost like my hairstyle, but I'm not gonna do it exactly like mine. Again, I'm using kind of sketchy marks. So as I was drawing the hair, I actually made a mistake, so I tried to double tap with my fingers like I do with digital art, and let me tell you, that is embarrassing. But I may as well come back here also and say something. So we ended up not really needing the ears. Depending on your character's hairstyle, you can keep them, obviously, if they're in view, but for mine, I actually didn't need them. But yeah, I just thought I would mention that I tried to undo with my fingers on paper. I know every digital artist has that same thing. Okay, really the only other thing I'm doing now is kind of darkening a few places, touching a few things up. And I know I actually didn't really explain the hair, but that really wasn't the purpose of the tutorial. You are welcome to do whatever hairstyle that you want to. Okay, well, there you have it. The hair really didn't turn out all the best, but we are just going to ignore that. I really just wanted to get the face down. I hope it helped. In the end, I kind of wasn't all too satisfied with how it turned out, but maybe that's just me. Please let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And yeah, let me know what you want to see next. As you can tell, I'm trying to post more frequently, so again, I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I will be back with another one here very soon, so thank you again for watching.